Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Nigro with a Chem Calculations screencast. This screencast is going to look at the relationships between cell potential and Gibbs free energy, and then cell potential and equilibrium, particularly the equilibrium constant. We've discussed Gibbs free energy in a previous screencast, and we have discussed how to calculate cell potential in a different screencast. So if you need any foundational work in those areas, please go back and watch those screencasts so that this one makes a little bit more sense. All right, but as a reminder, a positive cell potential means the redox reaction. And remember, redox reaction is when where electrons are being transferred that redox reaction is favorable. And if set up as a cell, will run as written and produce an electrical current. All right, we call these types of cells voltaic cells or sometimes galvanic cells. All right, so if you have a positive cell potential, then you know that as written, that cell will run favorably, which means that you should convert those reactants into products. And as part of that, electricity will run from one half cell to the other. All right, now with that in mind, all right, we can actually relate this cell potential to delta G. All right, remember when we talked about delta G in our earlier looks, delta G needs to be negative to be favorable. All right. So the relationship here, formula based, that Gibbs free energy is equal to negative N times F times that cell potential. All right. Now you'll notice that negative sign in the formula means that if the cell potential is positive, then we're going to get a negative delta G value. All right. So will be negative if E cell is positive. The reason for that is that these two variables are both going to be positive. N stands for moles, but particularly of electrons transferred, which means you're going to need to look at those half reactions and make sure they're balanced for charge and for elements so that you can determine the number of electrons that are going to be transferred. So that's always going to be a whole number for us. And then F is a constant. It's called Faraday's constant. All right, now with all our other constants, this will be on the reference sheet, so you don't need to memorize it. All right, but you might use it enough during this unit that it comes pretty naturally. It's a big number, 96,485. All right, our unit here, though, is a little strange. C per mole of electrons, and this is a coulomb. All right, it's a measure of electrical charge. So it's the charge per mole of electron. That's really what it is. All right, and then don't forget E cell is going to have a unit of volts. All right, and volts is just a measure of the amount of potential difference, the amount of work that that particular setup can do for us. All right, so this is what it looks like in terms of that relationship between delta G and that cell potential. All right, well, we know that at equilibrium, that their delta G value is equal to negative R times T times the natural log of our equilibrium constant. All right, so that means that we can take this and set this formula equal to this formula. All right, so our relationship is going to be N times F times the cell potential is going to be equal to negative R times T times the natural log of K. All right, so if we take that and rearrange everything to solve for that cell potential, we'll find that the cell potential is equal to R times T divided by N times F times the natural log of that equilibrium constant. All right. So, similarly to what we saw in that relationship between that equilibrium constant and Gibbs free energy, we can think about what K's number means in terms of favorability, which in turn tells us what the E cell should be in terms of sign. All right. So, remember, if our K value is greater than 1, that means we have more products than reactants. All right. Mathematically, that natural log of that value is going to be positive. So if we plug a positive number into this formula, our cell potential will also be positive, which means that reaction as written should run. It will be favorable. All right, which again makes sense. If we have more products at equilibrium than reactants, then the forward reaction is the one that is running. All right, and that is what your cell potential is looking at. So if we have more products, we should have a positive cell potential. All right, if instead K value is less than 1, that means we have more reactants present than products, then mathematically the natural log of K is going to give us a negative value, which in turn will give us a negative cell potential. All right, and again, that is also a reasonable assumption, right? Because if we have if we have a K value less than 1, we have more reactants than products, so the forward reaction is no longer favorable, which means the cell potential should be negative, indicating the cell does not run as written. Okay, so there's two formulas here that are important, right? This one and this one. Those are our new formulas. All right, it just gives us another way to move between free energy, equilibrium constant, and now cell potential. All right, so let's work a couple problems, make sure we understand how to use these. All right, we'll look at a couple tricks you have to do. All right, use the electrode potentials in the table to calculate delta G of the reaction at 25 degrees Celsius for the following reaction. All right, so we're given an unbalanced redox reaction, and then we're given the cell potentials for those two half reactions. All right, so if we're going to find delta G with this information, we are going to be using our formula that includes the cell potential. All right, so we're going to need to know two pieces of information. We know F because that's a constant. We're going to need to figure out the number of moles of electrons being transferred, and we're going to need to calculate that cell potential. All right, so first we got to figure out what's being reduced and what's being oxidized. So half reaction time, we don't need to write them out per se, but we do need to look at them. So copper goes from +2 to copper with a 0 oxidation number. So that means that it is gained 2 electrons, so it has been reduced and it gained 2 electrons during that process. Iron went from an oxidation number of 0 to +3, so it lost electrons, which means it was oxidized, but it lost 3 electrons. So you can see our electrons are not balanced here. So if we were to balance this half reaction, we would need 3 coppers, 2 irons, 2 irons, and 3 coppers. And we can see that's going to give us a total of 6 electrons transferred. All right, which is going to be equal to N for our calculation. All right, so we've got N. Now we need to look at the cell potential. So remember, the cell potential is the sum of our potentials, the two half reactions, but they're always written as reductions. So we need to flip the sign for our oxidation. All right, so this one is fine because that is the reduction, but the iron one needs to be flipped in terms of sign. So this is positive 0.036 volts. All right. E cell then is going to be the sum of those two numbers, which equals positive 0.376 volts. All right, so now we know N and we know the E cell, so we can plug things in. So negative 6 moles of electrons, Coulomb's constant 96485. And again, this is in units of coulombs per moles of electron. And then we get to volts, our E cell, so 376 volts. All right, now you can see the moles of electrons are going to cancel. All right, we could do some fancy unit math here, but just trust me that when you're finished with this calculation, if you take your volt and convert it into the compound unit that it represents, you can end up with kilojoules. All right, so we're going to end up here with negative 217.7 kilojoules per mole for our delta G value. All right. So if we think about it, our cell potential here was positive, which means that the reaction is favorable as written. And our delta G value was negative, which means that the reaction is favorable as written. So that is a good indicator that we have done things correctly. All right, let's move on to the next one. This time we're going to calculate the cell potential given the Gibbs standard free energy. All right, so we have a free energy of negative 132.0 kilojoules, and then we have this redox reaction. All right, so we know that E cell is going to be equal to negative delta G divided by N times F. That is a rearrangement of the formula above. All right, so we need N. We know delta G, F is a constant, so we need to look at this redox reaction and see what's going on. So we have A to A plus 3, B plus 3 to B. All right, so A goes from 0 to plus 3. So here's my oxidation, and it lost 3 electrons. B goes from plus 3 to 0. So it gained, which makes it the reduction, 3 electrons. So our electrons here are balanced. So we don't need to do anything else, which means N equals 3 moles of electrons for this particular setup. All right, so we go back over here. We've got negative and then negative 132.0 kilojoules. We're going to divide that by N, 3 moles of electrons, and then 96485 coulombs per mole of electrons. All right, once we do our math, we're going to end up with this negative sign canceling, and we're going to get a positive value, which is what I would expect for a negative delta G value. And that E cell is going to be 0.456 volts. All right. So that is also indicating spontaneous interaction, spontaneous movement of electrons. Okay. Let's move down to this number 3. Given the reaction, zinc solid plus copper ions form zinc ions plus copper solid with a cell potential of 1.10 at 298 Kelvin. Calculate delta G and the equilibrium constant. All right, so you can start either way. You can calculate K first and then delta G, or delta G and then K. I'm going to start with delta G. All right, so I know that Gibbs free energy is going to be equal to negative N times F times that cell potential. All right, again, I need to figure out what N is. So if I look, zinc is oxidized and it loses 2 electrons. Copper is reduced and gains 2 electrons. So that means N is going to be 2 for this particular reaction. So 2 moles of electrons, 96485 coulombs per moles of electrons, and then our cell potential of 1.10 volts. All right, we multiply everything out, and we have a delta G value of negative 212.3, and our units here will be kilojoules. All right, now that negative sign goes along with that positive E cell, so this is definitely a favorable setup. So just thinking about that, I would expect that when I calculate K, it's going to be greater than 1, that we'll have more products present than reactants at equilibrium. All right, now there are multiple ways to calculate K. You can use that formula that's up above, the E cell equals R times T over N times F times the natural log of K. I'm going to use a formula that looks a little simpler. It's just the free energy formula that relates back to to the equilibrium constant, this one. All right, so I'm going to plug everything in. Remember, R here is going to have a unit of joules versus kilojoules. So negative 212,300 joules for delta G, negative 8.314. And our unit here is joules, moles, Kelvin. And then we've got our temperature at 298 K, and then our unknown natural log of K. All right, so after all the multiplication, the natural log of K is going to be equal to 85.7. And then when we do the inverse natural log to both sides, we get 1.64 times 10 to the 37th. That is huge. This is very favorable. Lots of products present. All right, and again, that goes along with our negative delta G and our positive cell potential. And that cell potential is pretty large. I mean, any cell potential over 1, I mean, that reaction's cooking. All right, last but not least, we've got a problem where we've got two reduction potentials. What is the value of the equilibrium constant for this reaction? 298. All right, so, well, this is interesting. It doesn't, we're missing a piece of information. That piece of information is which direction are we going? We've got two reduction potentials, but we don't have the overall reaction. So I'm going to go with the reduction potentials that are going to give me a positive E cell. All right, so that's going to be my general idea. So I'm going to look at these two. All right, I'm going to need to flip the sign of one of these reduction potentials to give myself a positive overall potential. So it's going to have to be this one. All right, so this is actually negative 1.36 volts, all right, which makes this my oxidation and this half reaction my reduction. All right, with that in mind, the cell potential for this reaction is going to equal 0.15 volts. All right, now electrons being transferred. If we look, we've got 2 here and 5 here. So that's not balanced. So that means I would multiply this by 5 and I'd multiply this by 2. And that's going to give me 10 total electrons that are being balanced. All right. So that's going to be our N value for these calculations. All right. So first we want to look at the value of the equilibrium constant for this reaction. All right, so we know that the cell potential is equal to R times T over N times F. What? Sorry. Times the natural log of K. All right, so we're going to have to fill everything in and then we're going to do some math, move some things around. So 0.15 volts is going to be equal to 8.314 times 298 Kelvin divided by 10 moles of electrons times Faraday's constant, 96485. All right, and then that'll be times the natural log of K. All right, so I do the math, I move things around, and I find that the natural log of K is equal to 58.4. And when I take the inverse log of that, I get 2.34 times 10 to the 25th for that K value. All right, so I had a positive E cell, so it makes sense that my K value is large. All right, lots of products. All right, is the reaction proceeding in the forward or reverse direction? Explain your reasoning. Well, so this question's a little off because I chose to make it favorable in the forward. So it's favorable in the forward direction. All right. And then I would say because that cell potential is positive, and my equilibrium constant is greater than 1. If we were to also calculate delta G, we would find that delta G will be negative for this process as written. Okay, I apologize for those little texts that popped up during that end of that screencast. Put my thing on Do Not Disturb, but apparently it changed. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this look at cell potential and how it relates to Gibbs free energy through this new formula right here. All right, remembering that N is moles of electrons transferred, F is the Faraday constant, and E cell is the cell potential for that particular redox reaction. Also, how we can relate that over to the equilibrium constant utilizing this new formula, remembering that these three variables are related, delta G, E cell, and K, and they should work together to tell you whether something is favorable or unfavorable.